Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me in this VINYASA class. The first half of the class is going to be flowing, intense, and then the second half is still going to flow, but it's going to be a lot more chill down. We're just going to start with some basic stretches. So come to the front of your mat, gather your thoughts, stretch, shake. If you can join me now, I'm just doing a basic stretch for my chest. It's opening my upper body. On the inhalations, just raise your body up. On the exhalations, put your hands behind you. We're going to do this about 5 or 6 times. As you go through this whole class, I want you to just breathe through your nose as much as possible. Don't stress out over it. But if you find that you're not breathing through your nose, you catch yourself, then just go back to it. The general rule is, as we go up, we want to inhale. As we go down, we want to exhale. So just come back to the front of your mat, do some shoulder rolls. We're just loosening ourselves up before we get into the basic flow. Backwards, forwards, whatever works for you. Now, if you can clasp your hands behind your back and pull down as much as possible, we're just going to keep opening the chest, just really getting you ready for what's about to come. Keep breathing. I'm going to just get the wrists ready a little bit now. So a lot of the downward dogs, I'm going to be putting pressure on the wrists. Shake it out. Come back into prayer. Gather your thoughts. And just get ready for like an hour of just chilling. Now we're going to start opening the lower body. So just come into folding forward bend. Clasp your elbows. You should feel this in your hamstrings. And again, keep breathing through the nose. A lot of these poses we're going to hold for quite a long time. I really just want this class to flow. So reach down now, stretch a bit more, and then when you're ready, just come back up. Okay, now, standing back bend. This is our first forward bend, and then we're going to jump back into plank position, down all the way. Inhale as you come up to the first upward dog. Keep reminding yourself to breathe in through your nose and to breathe out through your nose. Slow breaths. That's going to get you in this meditative state. And then when you're ready, come into downward dog. You might want to pedal it out if it's your first downward dog of the day. Don't stretch too much on this one, just whatever makes you feel comfortable. But then again, once you're in it, breathe through that nose. And then jump to the front of your mat. Stretch down. And then inhale, come back up to that standing back bend, and then back to where you started in mountain pose. We're going to do a few rounds of this just to get us really warmed up. So down we go again, and then jump back, another plank, and we go back into upward dog. Inhale. Exhale, keep those breaths coming through the nose. You should already be starting to feel really warm, really present. And then into downward dog. And again, we're going to hold this for a little while. If you're holding these downward dogs and it does get too hard, you can come down to your knees whenever you want, go into child's pose, and just keep breathing, and then join back in with the flow when you feel good. some thoughts start popping up, just let them come, let them go. Just keep focusing on that breath and just getting in your body. Jump to the front of our mats again, take a deep breath, and then come into chair pose. So everything needs to be at a 45-degree angle. Your legs, your torso, and then just keep breathing. Come back up, back bend again, and then down we go for another jump back, down into chaturanga, upward dog. Really just breathe as hard as you can, and then back into downward dog. Another long hold of this one. Now we're going to raise our right leg, bring it to the front of the mat, and we're going to come up into warrior one. You can either just hold your hands apart, or you can put them in a prayer pose directly above you. You can look up, you can look ahead, and then come down, back into plank, chaturanga, upward dog. You should be starting to feel warm now. So go into downward dog again. Left leg up, and then warrior one on the other side. Keep breathing. I like to put my hands in prayer above my head, prayer pose. And then down again, all the way back, chaturanga, upward dog. Keep breathing through that nose. Downward dog. Jump to the front of your mat. Chair pose once again. Stretch your arms out as much as you can. Get into the breath. Standing back bend. And then down again. Forward bend. Jump back. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Enjoy that breath. Should be feeling really warm now. Downward dog. A little tip here is to push down on your thumb and index finger. That's going to open up the shoulders. Make sure your heels are as far down to the ground as possible. And then when you're ready, come through again for warrior one. On the right side. Down we go. Chaturanga, upward dog. Back into downward dog. Hold this for a few breaths. Then we're going to raise our left leg in a few seconds. I'll cue you when that's about to happen. Here we go, left leg up. Through to warrior one. Prayer hands. Back into plank position, chaturanga, do a push up if you want, upward dog. I like to stretch my neck a little bit, so I'm looking to the right here. So we're going to go to the other side. So look to the left, you should feel a nice neck stretch. And again, you should be feeling really warm now. If you're still breathing through your nose, you should really be feeling that flow. Down into a quick push up and then downward dog. mat. Chair pose. Really stretch as much as you can. Keep breathing. And then up into that standing back bend. Down to mountain pose. Forward bend. But as you go into forward bend, I want you to clasp your hands behind your back and then put them all the way forward as you do bend forward. This is really going to open up your shoulders. You're going to feel a nice stretch there. And you'll feel it in the back of your legs as well. Go as far into this as you can. Focusing on that breath, and then we're going to come back, jump back into plank position, chaturanga, upward dog. And then back to downward dog. Okay, so raise your right leg, bring it through in between your hands. We're going to quickly come into warrior one. Then we're going to turn. We're going to go into warrior two. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle as much as possible. The front leg. You can either have your fingers pointing down, your hands pointing down, or you can turn them the other way so that they're facing the sky. Then we're going to come back. Chaturanga, upward dog. We're going to do that on the other side. So downward dog. Raise your left leg. Bring it through. And then all the way up into warrior one. Take a few breaths and then boom. Into warrior two. And again, if you want to be in receiving modes, have your palms facing up. If you just want to feel that warrior energy, then point down. And when you're ready, come down, back into chaturanga. Upward dog. Keep breathing through that nose. Downward dog. Raise your right leg, bring it through. Going through a bit of a warrior series here. So we're going to go warrior one, warrior two, and then we're going to come down warrior three. That means that you put your back arm and your back leg, and then stretch the front arm towards your back leg over your head. And then back to warrior two, and then back down. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Should be feeling really warm now, really feeling that flow, especially if you're breathing through your nose. Raise your left leg, bring it through to your hands, up to warrior one. Take a breath. Into warrior two, and then warrior three on the back side. You should really feel a nice stretch in the side of your body. Warrior two, back into plank position, and then down into chaturanga. Upward dog. Really enjoy that breath. Into downward dog. Jump through your hands. chair pose. Stretch as far as you can. Stand up. Come into that back bend, standing back bend. Quick prayer pose. And then we're going to do a few sequences based on what we've just done. So I come into forward bend, jump back, chaturanga, upward dog. Downward dog. So raise your right leg, bring it through your hands. You're going to come back up into warrior 1. Take a breath. Come around into warrior 2. And then put your front hand on the floor in front of your foot. And then open your chest by raising your other hand and stretching it back. Then we're going to come into bound warrior. So grab your front hand with the back hand under your leg. And this is really just going to open your chest if you stretch into it. So look up and then just keep that top shoulder as open and as far back as possible. Come back down to the floor now. We're going to do a low lunge, lizard pose. So you can come all the way down like I'm doing. You can push your front leg out a little bit to the side. That's going to open up your hips. But you should also feel this in your other hip on your back leg. Just keep really breathing into it. And then we're going to come up, back into plank position, down, into upward dog. Back into downward dog. Then we're going to repeat that sequence on this side, on the other side. So raise your left leg, bring it through, up into warrior 1, take a deep breath, come around into warrior 2, and then we're going to put the front hand down, and we're going to open up our chest by stretching the back hand all the way behind us. Look up as we do so. You should really feel this in your chest. And then we're going to do bound warrior again on this side. So just grab your hand behind your back from underneath your leg, stretch into it, and open that shoulder. Imagine someone's pulling your top shoulder back. So you're really going to open your chest. And then that's it. You're going to come back into lizard pose on this side. You can come all the way down. So just put both hands on the floor. Remember, you can stretch your front leg out to the side. It's going to give you a bit of an extra hip stretch. And this should just feel really nice right now. And up we come. Back into plank, chaturanga, upward dog. Really get into that breath. Leg, bring it through, warrior 1, warrior 2. Now we're going to come into triangle pose. So straighten your front leg, turn your front foot out, and then reach down. If you want to open your chest, which is really what I'm trying to do, you can grab your ankle. If you just want to feel even more of a stretch, you can put your hand on the floor. Outside of your foot. But just really open your chest either way if you can. Keep breathing through your nose. Now we're going to come into half moon again. So put your right hand on the floor, bring your left hand up into the sky, open that chest. If you can look up, that's hard mode. If you are struggling with your balance, look down on the ground. But now we're going to come back into triangle pose. Open that chest, up into warrior 2, down into chaturanga, all the way back, and into upward dog. You should really be feeling your breath now, flowing back into downward dog, and just enjoy being there. Like really just be as present as you can. That breath. Raise your left leg up into warrior 1, round into warrior 2, triangle pose, straighten your front leg, and then open up that chest. Again, you can put your hand on your ankle if you want more of a chest open, or if you want, you can put your hand on the floor. You'll feel it in your hamstrings more as well. Through your nose, looking up. Now, bend our leg. Come back into half moon on the other side. Put your left hand on the floor this time. Open your chest. Look up if you can. Raise leg as straight as possible. Keep breathing. And that's it. Come down into warrior 2. Back into plank. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Take a deep breath. Stay here for a moment. Then into downward dog. Some really deep breaths here. Should feel really warm now, really in the flow. Raise your right leg, come through, coming through into crescent pose. Crescent pose means that your back heel is raised. Don't have to do the prayer above your head in this one. And we're going to go into warrior 3. That means we're going to come forward over our front leg, and we're going to come into airplane at first, and then put your hands together in front of you. Yep. Now we're going to come down, so bend your front leg and then back into crescent pose. Then we're going to come down into plank, chaturanga, upward dog. Downward dog. Raise your back leg on the left, come through into crescent pose again. Really enjoy being in that one. And then again, when you're ready, we're going to come over our front leg, up into warrior 3, start with airplane wings, and then bring them out in front of you. Keep breathing through your nose. Bend the front leg, and then just come down back into crescent pose. Down into plank, chaturanga, upward dog, deep breaths, inhale, exhale through the nose. Now back into downward dog. Right now, you should be really feeling a sense of who you really are. You should be feeling very real. Mind might be a little bit quieter than it was. Really getting into the breath, into the flow. Stay here in downward dog. Breathing through that nose. Just a little bit longer. And then jump to the front of your mat. Forward bend. Really just enjoy being in the moment after some of that crazy activity we've just been through. Start slowing down a little bit now. But we're not quite into the yin part of our Vin to yin class. Just stay down here, keep breathing, find your life again. Up a little bit, straighten the back as much as possible, back into one of these chair poses. Really get into your breath, and then we're going to stand up, back in mountain pose. And now we're going to do some balancing. So bring your right leg, your right foot up to your hip. We're going to come into tree pose. Really just find that steadiness of mind now, that equanimity. Just keep your eyes focused on the same spot in front of you. And then down. We're going to go up on the other side. So bring your left foot to your inner thigh and your right leg. And then raise your hands above your head. Just keep focusing in front of you. Keep breathing. Just find that inner balance. It reminds you who you actually are. Again, helping you see what's real. Gather your life, and then just stand there for a few seconds in mountain pose. It's really just breathing again. Do a back bend, standing back bend, Uttanasana, forward bend, jump back, plank, chaturanga, upward dog. And this should just feel so good right now for your lower back. Down into downward dog. Raise your right leg, bring it all the way through to a low lunge. And we're just going to do a back bend here in this lunge. So raise your hands up to the sky. Really breathe into it. And then come down. Chaturanga. Dog, and we're just going to do that lunge on the other side. Stay here a few minutes though, a few seconds. Raise your leg. Then lunge on the other side. So your left leg's forward. Really just feel that back bend. And you'll feel it in your hips as well. Get into that breath. Back into downward dog. This downward dog should feel amazing now. Just take it really slow. Really just breathe into that flow that we're feeling. Now we're going to do a wide forward bend. So put your left leg forward, turn and face the side of your mat, hands on your hips, and then just bend forwards. If you want, you can clasp your hands behind you, like I've done. Really just breathe into that. It's going to open up your shoulders, it's going to open up your hamstrings. Now we're going to grab the toes. So grab your big toes with your peace fingers, and then just pull yourself down as far as you can, as far as comfortable. Feel the hamstring stretch a bit more. Keep breathing through that nose. In, out, in, and down. That's how you're going to stay in the flow, that nose breathing. Then grab your right leg, right ankle, crawl over there. Feel the slightly deeper hamstring stretch. You might feel it in your side as well. Keep breathing into it. Then crawl over to the other side. Same thing. Giving your legs a break now. Giving them what they need. After putting some tension in there with all those warrior poses. And then just go back to the center. Hands on your hips. Now clasp your hands behind you. Put one leg out in front of you and turn around. If you want, you can do prayer behind the back. I was a bit too tight to do that. Either way, just lean over your front leg. Feel that hamstring stretch again. And just really breathe into this one. Inhale, come up. Switch your legs around. And then the same thing again on the other side. Inhale and go back, and then exhale down as far as you can go. Let's get into the sweetness of it. Ready? Turn around, come to the front of your mat. Big prayer pose. Inhale, come into that standing back bend. And then we're going to do Uttanasana, forward fold. Jump back. Chaturanga. Upward dog. Really breathing into this one. Come into downward dog again. Then jump through. Sit in staff pose. So we're going to do a back bend here. So we're going to go into bridge pose or wheel. So put your feet hips width apart, and then put your hands behind you. Come up onto your head, and then when you're ready, push all the way up. If you can do this, if you can't do this, you can do bridge pose, which just means that you keep your hands locked underneath your body, and keep them on the ground. If you can do wheel pose like me, then just come all the way up, keep breathing. Holding this just a little bit longer, and when you're ready, come down. I always feel such a release after doing that pose. Just bend your knees into your chest, and then bring your head up just as a bit of a counter pose to the back bend. And then come all the way down again onto your back, with knees still raised. Now raise your right leg and just turn your ankle around a few times. Any direction that works for you, back and forth, in circles. So now I'm going to come into reverse pigeon pose. So put your right ankle of your left knee, then reach through the hole in the middle of your legs and pull back. You'll feel a really nice hamstring stretch, and you'll feel it in your hips as well. You may also get an ankle stretch on your right leg or your right foot. Just breathe into it, and if you want, you can do what I'm doing. Stretch your top leg, your left leg, if you just want to get a bit more of a hamstring stretch. Either way, just do what works for you. Yogi's choice. Breathe away. And we're going to come down. And we're just going to do this on the other side. So raise your left leg, turn your ankle around a few times. Back and forth, round in circles, whatever works. And then reverse pigeon on that side. Just exactly the same again. Pull in, keep breathing through that nose. Long, slow breaths. And just really enjoy what you're doing, the gift that you're giving yourself. And again, if you want, straighten your leg just to get a bit more of a stretch. Totally up to you. Now we're going to come back down. Just turn the ankle a little bit more if you want. Knees to the chest. Bring your head up. Roll up. So we're doing a few back rolls, rolling on your spine is really good for it. And then if you want, come up into boat pose. Just hold that. Breathe. I'm not going to hold this for too long. It's really good for building core strength. Just really enjoy being in your breath. Whilst challenging yourself. Down, roll forwards, stay in the flow, and then come to the back of your mat, sit on your heels, and then clasp your hands behind you, and just pull back. We're just doing a final chest opener. This really should just feel very peaceful right now. Just breathe into that as your chest opens up. I love this stretch so much. Just take a moment just to be with yourself. You should really feel different now to how you did at the start of the session. Things are slowing down, you're in your breath, you're in the flow, your body's more open. Now we're just going to come forward into child's pose. We're going to start slowing down now, getting into some more yin energy. So just go into this child's pose and just really, really breathe into it. I'm just going to be here a little while. A lot of the time we think that yoga is just about the asana, moving poses. More than anything, it's about calming our minds. The fluctuations of the mind, the ripples that just cause the lake of consciousness to become disturbed. What we're going to start doing now is just letting some of those ripples dissolve. So just stay here, breathe in the moment, and just really appreciate what you're doing for yourself. It's kind of amazing. Now we're going to come forward into Cobra pose. Just move from side to side whilst you're in it. Really just however you feel like doing it. Feel your chest open. Just really just keep breathing deeply into this. Turn your neck if you want to. From side to side. Look up, and then we're going to go all the way down to the floor, and we're just going to come into Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose, just put your hands out in front of you, your elbows are underneath your shoulders, and you should feel just a nice little stretch in your lower back. Nothing major, but the closer your elbows are to your shoulders, the more you're going to feel that. And just really start getting into the stillness now. I'm going to stop talking as much so we can just feel that yin energy. Now if you want, you can come up into the next level of this pose, seal pose. So just put your hands out to the side. Push all the way up. Keep breathing. Down to the floor. Put your hands out to the side on your fingertips, and then push up one more time. And just really breathe into the deeper version of this. If this is too much, you can stay in any of the previous versions of this little sequence. Turn your neck to the side if you want. Bit of a neck stretch. Then come down. Make a little pillow with your hands. Put your head on there, relax. And just scoot your hips from side to side. It's called the sacral rock. Just a really nice way to ground yourself. Just quickly, nothing major, but just breathe into it. To the front of your mat, on your knees. Let's do a quick twist. So put your left hand on your right knee, right hand behind you. Twist round. Repeat that on the other side. Really slow it down there. So now we're going to come back into saddle pose or reclining hero pose. So sit with your butt between your ankles, and then you can come all the way back, like I've done, if you're flexible enough. Or if you want, you can just sit with your hands behind you in this position, whatever is comfortable for you. But we're just going to come all the way as far back as we can based on what our body is saying we're ready for. And we're just going to breathe really deeply into the stillness. Whatever you're feeling right now, just feel it. Let it arise. Let it pass. Remember what we said about those ripples on the leg. Ripples come. But once they do fade away, we're just left with awareness of who we really are, what life really is. So just be with whatever you need to be with. Stretch behind you if you want to, and we're going to come back up. And now we're just going to go quickly into cat-cow, just to release back a bit more. So inhale and come all the way up, and then on the exhale, arch your back like a Halloween cat. Just keep going back and forth at your own pace. Inhaling, exhaling through your nose. You can also look behind you slightly at the hip on the opposite side. And then we're just going to come into downward dog quickly as part of a transition. We're going to go into pigeon pose and then sleeping swan. So raise your right leg, bring it through, put your right knee next to your right hand and your right foot next to your left wrist, and then just open up your heart, look back, and then just stay here breathing for a little while. And then if you want, you can either stay there or stay here or come all the way down into sleeping swan. And we're just going to stay here for a while, really just letting those ripples dissolve, really becoming still, really just listening to whatever is going on inside of ourselves as we find that awareness, that peace that was there waiting for you the whole time. steady, take a final breath, just come up. We're going to transition into doing this on the other side. So we're going to go through chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog, and we're going to raise our left leg, come into pigeon on the other side. So just get into that, breathe, chest forward, just really enjoy the moment. And then if you want, you can scoot back a little bit, that's how I get into it, and come into sleeping swan. Scooting back just opens your hip even more. We're just going to come into this and go back to that place of peace that we just found on the other side. So just the final few breaths here. Be coming out of it in a second. Good. So now bring yourself up, and then just scoot right leg round to the side. Bring your left leg into your groin, and then stretch back. Raise your hands up in the air, and then just reach forward for your right ankle if you can reach that, or your right heel. We're in the yin section of the flow now, so you don't have to straighten your back out completely. Just go to wherever feels good. We're just trying to slow the mind down now and feel a natural stretch, i.e. just let the body almost stretch itself. As you stay in the pose, you will go deeper into it anyway. Just go where you need to go. Keep breathing into it. Feel free to go a little deeper if you want to, or to readjust. The main point of a yoga asana is that you feel steady and comfortable. So we're going to come up, we're going to repeat this on the other side. So put your right foot into your left groin, reach up, stretch back, and then bend forward. And just go where you can stay steady, comfortable, and find yourself by releasing yourself. a few more breaths here. We're going to be coming back up. Good, so bring yourself up. And then come into a cobbler's pose. So just sit with your back straight and put your feet together. And if you want, you can come forward. It's just going to make the stretch feel a little more real. Breathing through your nose the whole time. Probably sick of hearing me say breathe through your nose now, but keep breathing through your nose. So now we're going to come up out of the pose and we're going to get ready for dragonfly pose or wide forward bend. Just open your legs to the side as far as you can, straighten your back, do a quick twist to the side, so turn to your left, breathe, and then we're going to turn to the right as well, just a quick twist to get us ready for the pose. And then straighten your back, stretch up as much as you can, and then just come forward as far as is comfortable for you. Again, this is a yin section of the class, so really you just want to feel like the stretch is almost doing itself. Just go as far forward as you can. Find that stillness away from those ripples. You can reach out and grab your big toes and then just use that for some leverage as you pull your spine a bit further forward, or you can just stay where you are. Either way, deep breathing. More breaths in this pose. Come forward again if you had hold of your toes. Back up. Just enjoy a moment right there before you bring your legs together. Back into couple's pose. We're going to get ready to come into a spinal twist. We're going to do it in half lotus. So bring your right foot up into half lotus and then put your left hand on your right knee and reach back. Grab your foot that's in lotus with your right hand and just really breathe into this amazing twist. Look behind you a little bit more with every exhale. And we're going to do this on the other side. So switch your lotus and then just reverse everything you just did. Pose, front forward fold. So just put yourself into an L shape, really, you just want to feel that the stretch is stretching itself again. That every cell in your body is just opening itself up. This amazing stretch. Really relax into this one. I'm going to be here a little while. If you want, you can just put your hands out on the floor in front of you. So just a few more breaths here. Let those ripples keep rippling away. Really tap into that feeling of just being so open. And then bring yourself back up and lie down on your back. We're going to do banana pose. So scoot your hips over to the right side of your mat, and then put your right foot over your left foot, and then stretch your arms behind you over to the left. And if someone was looking at you from outer space, you'd look like a banana right now. Just keep your hips on the floor and just really open up to this side stretch. Just keep taking those deep, deep breaths. This is one of my favorite stretches ever. Then we're going to come out of this. We're just going to do it on the other side, so scoot your hips over to the other side of your mat. Put your left foot over your right foot. Stretch out to the right. Just really feel that stretch all down the left side of your body. Yourself out of the pose, scoot yourself back into the middle of your mat. So now bring your right knee into your chest, straighten your leg, grab it, and then put your left hand to your left leg and just pull yourself up as you get a stretch in your hamstring and just get a bit of core strength coming into this. Then just do this on the other side. So bring your left knee into your chest. Bring your head up. Straighten that left leg. And then just put your right hand out on your right leg. Just really keep breathing. Come back down. Now we're going to come into a spinal twist. So bring your right knee up again, but then just get your left hand and bring that right knee down to the left side, and then stretch your right arm up behind you. You can look to the right if that's comfortable, otherwise just look to the left. But really just feel this stretch all down the side. And this is really just going to help you to start winding down again after everything we've done here today. So really breathe into it and just accept this gift that you're giving yourself right now. And then bring yourself up, and then we're just going to switch sides, do this on the other side. So just reverse everything you've just done and go deep into it. So in a few breaths, we're going to come out of this and we're going to bring both knees to our chest. Then we're going to lie back and just bring your legs, your feet down to the ground as slowly as you can. You might feel your back kind of readjust as you get nearer the ground, but just bring your feet down really, really slowly. And when they reach the mat, just allow your knees to fall together. Just get into this constructive rest pose. If you want, you can put your hands behind you, your head, in a kind of diamond shape. That just opens up the chest a little bit, allows you to breathe even deeper. Then, if you want, you can come into a kind of reclined cobbler's pose. So your legs are in a diamond shape and your hands are in a diamond shape above your head. Just really let everything open up for the final time. Keep breathing into it. Right now, those ripples should be minimal. Probably feeling really, really peaceful. We went deep into the flow. We went deep into the stillness. Now we're just bringing it all together with these final few poses. So just really relax. And when you're ready, let's go into Shavasana. Some people say this is the hardest pose. You just gotta lie here and receive whatever life is offering you right now in this moment. But if you're as open as I am, you should be ready to receive whatever that is. So just keep breathing. Enjoy Shavasana. So we're going to start coming out of Shavasana now. Let's take a few final breaths. Stretch your arms behind your head if you want to. Wiggle your toes. Really just get into the stretch. And then roll over to the side. Get into a kind of fetal position. Just take a few moments here before we come back to life. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready, let's take a final breath or two and then come up into a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Keep breathing through your nose. And just sit here in a kind of meditation. Just focus on everything that you've just experienced, the gift that you've just given yourself for the last hour and 15 minutes, and the sense of peace, the calmness, the awareness that you now have. Thank you for practicing with me today. Really hope you flowed as much as I did. You can stay in the meditation, or you can go enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.